Hi. Today I want to touch very briefly on a topic, just on a wellness topic for everyone concerned, be that for your kids, for ourselves, for just as a matter of being well, right? I have worked over the years very closely with Dr. Joe Dispenza, and his his books and his studies have scientifically proven that a lot of human behavior is innate. It's the way that human beings behave naturally. Like breathing. Breathing, for instance, is something that we do very naturally, and it's very wrong. We do not breathe correctly. We breathe incorrectly, we breathe inappropriately, and the reason we breathe the way that we breathe is because it's a way of being. We have never questioned, are we breathing correctly, because our bodies do it naturally, right? Our heart beats naturally. Our lungs and our kidneys and our organs, they function naturally, without a question, without a doubt. So today I want to touch on how to breathe correctly. I learned this. I've watched the behavior of my kids over the years, and you know what? It makes a huge difference. The fact that I have broken it down for them to say their bodies are 75% water, right? So the thing that we need to consume a lot is water, naturally, right? So again, back to their ages. The 5-year-old has to drink 5 bottles of 500 mils of water a day. 7-year-old, 7 bottles of 500 milliliters of water. The 10-year-old is the 10 bottles of 500 mils, and the 13-year-old, 13 bottles of 500 mils. Okay, I have to do 39 500 mils, but I usually do them in 2 liters. So in doing that, what I believe is that when you teach kids a thing from a young age, it stays with them for the rest of their lives. They grow old with it, and it's habits that they will never forget because they do it every day. Think about yourself when you were a child and how you behave now. It's all related to the way that you were raised. It's all related to what you did when you were younger. Some things you changed along the way. You either have a family of your own, or you have no family of your own, but you raised yourself to some point, and you've changed some stuff, you've unlearned some stuff, and you've learned new stuff, and you behave that way. But I'll tell you what, 89.9% of our behavior, it is generated from our upbringing. A lot of the things that we do them because it's a natural way of being. It's the way human beings are. And the rest of it is learned behavior. Learned behavior or unlearned behavior. Relearned behavior. But it's stuff that we set ourselves, and we gotta be consistent at doing certain things, or else our lives would fail. Dismally so, right? So let's assume the task of ending the process of eating for me in this house, the way to end the process of eating is that you take your bowl to the sink, you wash your bowl, you dry it, you pack it away, you're done. The process of sleeping, you obviously have to make up your bed before you sleep. So you get into the bed, you sleep, you wake up in the morning. Before you do anything, you make up your bed, and appropriately. There's a way of doing it appropriately, which is the proper way, and you do it inappropriately, which is the improper way, which is if you're in a hurry and you're late and you do it once in a while, it's fine, just as long as your bed is made up. But the correct way to do it is that you remove all the blankets off, you dust your sheet, then you put the sheet back on the bed, and you do it properly, because this is about you. Everything that you do, it begins with yourself. So when you make up your bed, it's a way of saying, you know what, I'm done, I've completed the task of sleeping. I'm done, I've completed the task of eating. And I know it sounds like I'm doing something whereby I'm training these kids in a military school to be soldiers or something to that effect. However, I have a strong belief that if they are raised a certain way, they will have an appropriate way and a proper way of communicating with people, other people. We live with human beings. It's not as if we live with animals. So that said, living with human beings, we be human beings. We are innate. We do certain things naturally. We do other things by what we learn. And if they learn how to communicate properly, they will have the ability to be greater than what their parents ever were or their parents are right now, right? Like me, for instance. All right, like me, for instance, I chose to sacrifice the rest of these years because I had unplanned pregnancies and I have unplanned kids who need to be raised, and I didn't want to be making the same mistake because of my first failed marriage. I didn't want to have kids dismobobulated because I would be working and I wouldn't have enough time to actually invest in them. And I also recently heard a podcast. They were speaking about investing in your kids, or how parents, usually we say we're working hard to earn money so that we can give our kids the best that we could give them. When I was growing up, I remember my brother always complaining, you know what, when my dad died, I it was on a different level of pain for me, because I got to actually experience my brother's pain for the very first time. And what he had said to me was, you know what, all I ever wanted was for daddy to just kick the ball with me. My father would come home and it would be late, the sun would be gone down already, and on weekends he would be out with his friends and living his life. And he would continuously ask my dad to kick the ball with him. My dad would say, you know what, I bought the ball for you, kick the ball. So what now? So I must buy the ball and I must play with the ball. And so it was just a thing of, you know what, I learned from all of my experiences that say, your kids, they need your time. You need to spend time with them. You have to realize that, yes, I understand that you got to be working, you got to bring home the bacon, and at some point you have to realize that spending less time with your kids, it's the greatest downfall ever. So where I live in this village, I've realized that kids are not even living with their parents. Kids are living with their grandparents or their aunts, and their parents are somewhere in Gauteng or somewhere, and they live here under the impression that their parents don't love them. It's the impression that they have, because I speak to the kids around here, and there was this one child who, I think he was 16 years old if I'm not mistaken. He lived in a house by himself, raising himself. His mom lived in another village about 45 minutes away from here with his other siblings, and he had to live here because he was schooling here and he was alone. He would come every night and he would have something to eat at the grandma down the road where I live. And one day I asked him, I said to him, you know what, I always see you going there, but then you always coming here. Where do you live actually? And he explained to me, and he says, you know what, my mom's living away from here and I live alone because I go to school. Hey, ladies and gents, I must thank you for listening and watching, and your views and your likes and your comments. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. It's really assisting the channel to continue growing. I have timed myself so each and every video has a limited time. So I noticed that I did not actually end the video appropriately. So thank you for watching. I will try to come back to the proper ending of this video in my next upload. In the meanwhile, thank you very much for your support. It's truly appreciated.